Who in the Lord's name does Putin think gives him the right to declare new so-called countries on territory that belong to his neighbors? This is a flagrant violation of international law and demands a firm response from the international community.
That was US President Joe Biden speaking earlier on placing sanctions on Russia. This is due to Russia recognizing the independence of two breakaway republics in the east of Ukraine, as well as moving in military forces. It's been a busy day as regards the Western response to Russia. So here is a breakdown as to where things stand. The UK, the EU, and the United States have all placed economic sanctions on Russia. In addition, the German government has paused the certification of the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline. Let's go through how today's events unfolded, starting with the decision by the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz to put the Nord Stream 2 pipeline on hold. Here he is speaking about this earlier.
Ich sprach davon, die Lage ist heute eine grundlegend andere. Und deshalb müssen wir angesichts der jüngsten Entwicklung diese Lage auch neu bewerten, übrigens auch im Hinblick auf Nord Stream 2. Ich habe das Bundeswirtschaftsministerium heute gebeten, den bestehenden Bericht zur Analyse der Versorgungssicherheit bei der Bundesnetzagentur zurückzuziehen. Das klingt zwar technisch, ist aber der nötige verwaltungsrechtliche Schritt, damit jetzt keine Zertifizierung der Pipeline erfolgen kann. Und ohne diese Zertifizierung kann Nord Stream 2 ja nicht in Betrieb gehen.
This decision by Scholz was met with what some might call a threatening reply by former Russian president, a member of the Russian Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, on Twitter. Here's what he said. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has issued an order to halt the process of certifying the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline. Welcome to the brave new world where Europeans are very soon going to pay €2,000 for 1,000 cubic meters of natural gas. Irrespective, Western leaders continued with their announcements. Next on the West's response was the UK, with Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying the following in the British Parliament.
Today, the UK is sanctioning the following 5 Russian banks: Rossiya, IS Bank, General Bank, Promsyaz Bank, and the Black Sea Bank. And we are sanctioning 3 very high net worth individuals: Gennady Timchenko, Boris Rottenberg, and Igor Rottenberg. Any assets they hold in the UK will be frozen. The individuals concerned will be banned from travelling here. And we will prohibit all UK individuals and entities from having any dealings with them.
This was then followed by a statement by UK Foreign Secretary Liz Truss, who added the following. In the event of further aggressive acts by Russia against Ukraine, we have prepared an unprecedented package of further sanctions ready to go. As part of this, should Russia not de-escalate, the UK will shortly introduce legislation which will, amongst other steps, prevent Russia from issuing sovereign debt on UK markets. In Moscow, just after this, the upper chamber of the Russian parliament approved a request by Vladimir Putin to send in troops to the breakaway republics. Putin later gave a press conference where, amongst other points, he accused Ukraine without any basis of trying to get nuclear weapons. After this, and away from sanctions, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg addressed reporters in Brussels. This is what he had to say.
This is a serious escalation by Russia and a flagrant violation of international law. It further undermines Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. It damages efforts to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict, and it has grave consequences for European security.
He went on to add the following.
We urge Russia in the strongest possible terms to choose the path of diplomacy. This is the most dangerous moment in European security for a generation. But Europe and North America continue to stand strong together in NATO, united and committed to defend and protect each other.
It was then over to the European Union, which announced its own sanctions package on Russia. This included the following: sanctioning members of the Russian parliament who voted to recognize the breakaway republics, 27 individuals and entities undermining Ukraine's territorial integrity, economic relations between the EU and the breakaway republics, and targeting the ability of Russia to raise capital on the EU's financial markets. the EU's High Representative had the following to say about the sanctions.
This package of sanctions that has been approved by unanimity by the member states will hurt Russia, and it will hurt a lot.
Mr. Borrell also added this about the final part of the sanctions.
And last but not least, because this is very important, we target the ability of the Russian state and government to access to our capital and financial market and services, limiting the financing of their policies through limiting the access of their sovereign debt to our financial markets.
The European Commission's President, Ursula von der Leyen, also spoke. Here's a clip from her statement.
Russia has manufactured this crisis and is responsible for the current escalation. We will now quickly finalize the sanctions package, and we will coordinate closely with our partners as we've done so far.
After this, it was over to the White House, where, as heard at the beginning of this piece, Joe Biden announced US sanctions on Russia. Here they are in detail.
We're implementing full blocking sanctions on two large Russian financial institutions, VEB and their military bank. We're implementing comprehensive sanctions on Russia's sovereign debt. That means we've cut off Russia's government from Western financing. It can no longer raise money from the West and cannot trade in its new debt on our markets or European markets either. Starting tomorrow and continuing in the days ahead, we'll also impose sanctions on Russia's elites and their family members. They share in the corrupt gains of the Kremlin policies and should share in the pain as well.
And that is where things stand as of 2000 GMT. This is a developing situation as regards the Western response to the Russia-Ukraine crisis. But as of now, this is a short overview of today's key points. I'm Thomas Cole, and thank you for watching.